Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Happy Thursday. It's Thursday, the 9th of August. Can't believe it's August already. I wanted to say hello, and I'm just going to get people to... Hey, Randy! Thank you for joining and giving me your support. I am just going to share this link before we get moved on. You can enjoy my Mozarts in the background. Seeing as Randy's not here to have this conversation with me, but he's in spirit. He knows exactly what I'm talking about, and I know he's sending you all some good energy. But in the meantime, let's share this on our pages so that we can at least get something moving, right? And then I will put the music down and we will continue. It doesn't want to load, apparently. Oh, here we are. So, share to page. Share to page. Share to page. Too many pages to share to. All right. So, good morning. I'm just going to put the volume down. Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, like I said. I am here on my own. So just for those of you who had just joined us, this is Love Your Life Story. Usually Randy and I are having weekly discussions and conversations about getting to know yourself, you know, learning to have a better relationship with yourself so that you can have a better relationship with those around you and create a better community. That's what life is about, right? So if you're clicking on here and you're seeing this for the first time, if you're seeing this on either my page, newsfeed, or Randy Boyd's newsfeed, please go on to Love Your Life Story and click like, firstly, and then follow us on our Love Your Life Story page. Secondly, you know, share the love. If this is of any value or any connection for you, please share the love, share the link, pass it to a loved one, pass it to a friend. And I guess if you have any questions are important. So put them on the vibe feed, send me some questions. I'm here to answer them, and I'm here to give you a different perspective. And maybe you can give me a different perspective. Hey, that's what life's about, right? It's all about different perspectives. We can always see something differently if we choose to do so. Or we can be really rigid and create that turbulence because of our own way of thinking about something and how we do something. So today we're going to be talking about self-care and what self-care is and why is it important. And even on my journey, why am I learning that it's so important? The more I get deeper into self-care and look at it as a practice, it becomes even more prevalent to me that it is something that's vital. It's not even, oh, I can do it later. Oh, I can do it, you know, when, you know, the kids are older, or I can do it when mom and dad are settled and they're taking care of themselves, because those things are not going to happen. You know, those things are not going to happen. And by that time, you've already depleted yourself of anything that's of value to you. So I just want to start with that. But a little recap on last week, we talked about recovery. And what does recovery mean? And when Randy and I discussed about this, you know, one of the big things that we got was recovery. You know, self-care is so important in the process of recovery, whatever you are recovering from. You know, we can talk about extremes, whether it is of drug and alcohol abuse, but recovery can be from just recovering to learn and master the art of looking after yourself. That's a recovery in itself, you know? So I guess so starting off with the questions would be, you know, do you, you know, are you the person who is worn out so much to the point of taking care of everybody else and everything else, and you come to a point in your life where, you know, you are so worn out to take care of yourself because you're taking care of everybody else? Are you a people pleaser? Are you the go-to person? You know, like I have, you know, those friends who I am that go-to person, and I'm happy to, but I have to take care of myself so that I can show up for those who I love and care for in a healthy manner, right? To create healthy boundaries and healthy relationships, which means that you have to be available, but to be able to feed yourself and take care of yourself. Are you that person who struggles to say yes, you know, when you need to say yes, and no when you need to say no? Are you that person that has complete, you know, people pleaser syndrome? Do you want to see, you know, you'll compromise your sanity and serenity for others, you know, because you don't want to upset them? You know, does any of those questions sound familiar? Do they come into your experience? And if they do, you know, this is more of a reason for us to really evaluate what is self-care. What does self-care look like? What does self-care look like for you, right? Not for anybody else. You know, how it looks for me might not be for you, and how it might look like for you might not look like for me. But there are basic principles behind self-care. That doesn't mean get my nails done and get my hair done and get my pedicure and manicure, you know, and buy new clothes, when that might not be something that I am able to do, right? It's not something that that's going to feed my soul. If I'm financially struggling, and then me going on my way to do that to create more debt is not self-care, right? That's more stress. So really being aware of that, you know, and if you're doing that and you're working 3 jobs, 4 jobs to get that, that's not self-care either. You're working your butt off for what? To do those little things that are materialistic, that are not even feeding your soul on a deeper level. You know, why would you put yourself through that? You know, and then, hey, you know, we all kind of, I know I've had my times, you know, where I've thought, oh, I can indulge in this. You know, my quick fix was shopping. And my mom and I were, you know, we went through a hard time in our life, and I remember we'd go shopping. That was our way of dealing with things, you know, and I came to realize I can't continue to do this all the time. This is not healthy, because we were not talking about things that were really hurting us and really depleting our energy in a whole different way. So, you know, again, something if you are aware of is to really like look at how you're doing something and why you're doing something. What is the motive behind what you think self-care is? You know, self-care, just say, like, for example, if you're in a relationship, and a self-care might look like, okay, I want to spend some time with that person, and I want them to know that I'm available, but you have 1,000,001 things that you need to do and take care of for yourself, and you make them a priority. That's not self-care. You know, self-care is when you take care of stuff that is important to you, that is going to have, you know, effect on you. So my question to you would be, what does self-care look like? Is, you know, are you doing too much of the things that I just mentioned, you listed? It's okay to do it in moderation, but if you're doing it all the time and it's not serving you, and you're not getting a different result, or you're not feeling good, right? You're momentarily feeling good, but in the long run, it's not helping you to feel good. You know, what is that? Is there anything or anyone who is struggling with life care, you know, self-care? You know, I invite you to please question, you know, and ask your questions. Self-care is not selfish. It's not overindulgent. That's not what self-care is. And you know, if you think that, you know, sometimes I think, particularly women, and Randy's not going to be here to talk about it, you know, the male perspective. for men or women. It's always kind of one of those things that happen between, it doesn't matter what sex you are. But I think, overindulging, if you're a guy, are you spending too much time with your friends and not spending enough time with your family, and that's your way of disconnecting, because you've got kids running around, you've got your partner or your wife, wanting from you, and you're working hard, and you're kind of like, okay, well, I don't want to deal with this. I'm gonna go and see my friends, I'm gonna go and see my buddies. But that's not self-care. You're not taking care of what you need to take care. One, for yourself, and two, for your family. And that is a critical part of having those healthy relationships. But ultimately, what that tells me is you're not taking care of yourself, and you can't be available for the ones that you really love and care for. Self-care is a priority and necessity. It's not a luxury in the work that we do. If you're here, if life for you is about, being a better person today than you was yesterday, and your aim is to be a better person tomorrow than you are today, then self-care is a necessity. It's a priority. And only by your actions can you make a difference, full stop, because it starts with you. And even if and I'm not saying you need to be all out there and, connecting with hundreds of people and connecting with, creating that huge community. If you're not that person who wants that, I can understand, but it takes time to build. It's not something that happens right away. But self-care ultimately just starts with you. And if you can do it with you, even if you have close friends, or you just have, you're a very simple person and you just have family, I guarantee you, if you have that self-care, that you will be more available and just be able to be present fully. Like, if you're present 100%, even when you're triggered, you can laugh at them. We can laugh at your triggers, laugh at the thought process, rather than sit in it and then be driven by it, whatever that might be, right? Because it's only your story that you're making up in your head, and that's not self-care. Because you've got to look at both, everything, and ultimately, it's your own first conversation in your head. It's your mental capacity. I got a little quote for you. Me and the quotes. I don't have my flip chart behind me because I don't have the stand today. Because Bandy, you got it. But I got a little quote for you. Rest and self-care are so important. When you take time to replenish your spirit, it allows you to serve others from the overflow. You cannot serve from an empty vessel. And that's from Eleanor Brown, who's a public speaker and healthy lifestyle consultant. She's written a number of books and really, been out there and talking about, how can we change something for the better, for the positive, and make a difference for ourselves and others. How can I lead a happier life? That's ultimately. So if you're thinking about what self-care is not, self-care is not when you neglect yourself. So neglecting yourself can be, you made a commitment, and I'm going to go really simple, I'm going to go really basic. You made a commitment that you're going to start eating cleaner, and you don't. But then, okay, you don't, you see it once, you see it twice, you see it, but if you see it 10 times, there you got really something to look at, right? Because there's some emotional needs that you are not addressing. But you neglect yourself. You made this commitment, you're going to eat healthier. And you neglect yourself by not doing so because you're driven by something else. Okay, you've done it once, you've done it twice, the third time, you have a choice. Am I going to keep on doing this because this is what's going to harm me? Or am I going to create a routine or a lifestyle, build towards where, okay, I can do that once a week, but the other weeks, what makes me happy? If you decided to eat healthy, then eat healthy, but eat something that makes you happy. I'm not saying eating, just eat grass, right? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about just eating something that will put a smile on your face, create a nice presentation and put it on your dish, don't just slap it on. Make it For you, make it indulgent. For you, make it look indulgent. Like that. Because it's all appealing to the eye. If it's appealing to the eye, then it's going to be appealing to the brain, and when it's appealing to the brain, it's appealing to the body, right? And when it's appealing to the body, you are now fulfilling something on a soul level, where it helps you, and just live in the moment, be present. If you're not present, then you're going to be self-doubting, neglecting, self-harming, belittling, judging, being unkind to yourself. These are not all actions of self-love, self-care. It's not an action of self-care. You're gonna not enjoy that part of your life that you really desire to enjoy, and that is not fulfilling. If you're doing that, hey, again, I can only talk from my experience, right? I mean, I can only see and talk from my perspective of how I've done life and where I found those struggles of not being able to be fully authentic. Because when you're not feeding yourself and you're giving yourself self-care, self-care and love, somebody says, hey, can you do this thing for me? And I have like 10 million things to do, or I don't need to have 10 million things. Even if I have one thing to do, I'm like, oh, I can do that later. I'll go out. But that was really important to me. So instead of saying, hey, I need a couple of hours, and if you're available in 2 hours, then I can, I will just leave that, and then I go out, and then, I'd be out there for a few hours, and I come home, and then the last thing I want to do is do what I need to do. What is that, right? Does that not make you think, like, why did you do that? Why did I just completely neglect myself? And really think about that. So those neglect, doubt, self-harm, belittle, judge, be unkind, and you can go to all extremes of whatever that might be. But this behavior leads to, and research has proven and keeps on linking many types of health problems, from heart disease, high blood pressure, weight gain, diabetes, cancer. These things, the lack of self-care and the self-love, and we look at what's going on in our society. Now here we are, people are trying to make ends meet, people are trying to work a job, 2, 3, because they are trying to make ends meet. And I really highly, I bow down to you for being able to do so. But look at that too. Like, why are you grinding yourself to the bone and you can't really enjoy life with your loved one? If you're working those type of hours, do you really need that money to live the way you're living? What is it giving you? Because all it's going to give you is tension and problems and health issues. And in the long run, it's going to really affect you. I had a number of my friends who, it's not a judgment. This is just a conversation that we would have. That are you happy doing what you're doing? If you're happy and you can really be of service, and you found other ways of balancing that self-care, I like I said, that's what we're here for. But hey Shana, thank you for joining. I am just having a conversation of self-care and what self-care looks like. Randy is not here with me today. He's on a conference for 3 days, and he's always out of town. But if you have any questions about self-care, or you have any pointers, please type them up and send them to him. But I appreciate you joining us. But sorry, I was just talking about the things that we don't think about. So when I was just going back to, and I'll recap: self-neglect, self-doubt, self-harm, belittling, judging, and being unkind to myself is not self-care. And if you're in the little things that you said that you would do for yourself, and you're not doing them, that is not self-care. Rather than meaning self-care, a lot of people have this concept of self-care is, oh, I'm going to get my hair done, I'm going to get my nails done, I'm going to get my manicure, I'm going to go and wash my car. I mean, these are all things that are very important and very valid. But self-care starts on a deep down level before we even go there. And if we're doing that on a basis of just covering up those things because we don't want to acknowledge them or talk about them or share them, then all of a sudden they start to be something that is unmanageable. So I was just sharing earlier, Shana, that, you know, one of those things when I was going through a hard time, you know, back home in England with my family, my self-care with my mom would be, let's go shopping. But it wasn't something that I could, I mean, it wasn't something, I did it because my mom would do it, but it really did not. Momentarily would, but initially when I'm looking at what really affects me in life and how I am affected by life or of things that I'm doing, it was not feeding my soul. It was feeding me momentarily, and then in the long run I would have issues of how to deal with it. So, and the research and the links that are now being spoken of with the lack of self-care is now really looking at what is it really causing in our society, the mayhem, the chaos, you know, our mental chaos, because of the things that we're not really dealing with. We're not really having that self-care, and self-care is not overindulgent, and it's not selfish. You know, really understanding the meaning of self-care. So self-care is putting your, you know, I guess if I was to put it in right context, it would be, you know, putting your own oxygen mask on. You know, you go to, you know, on an airplane, and what do they first tell you? Get your own mask on before you go to anybody else, and that's including your child. And normally we are like, okay, you know, predator instinct or nature instinct, or natural instinct would be to put your child's mask on before you, right? So I'm not that I'm a mother, but I think I would end up thinking that way. Yeah, I don't think you need to be a mother to do that. Hi, Randy, you're being missed. Nice to see that you're online. I hope you're working hard. So yeah, put your own oxygen mask on first. Secondly, I would say self-care is starting by taking baby steps. You know, it's not, I get clients, Randy gets clients, and if I'm seeing people are online right now, but if I don't see your name, it means that you're not on Love Your Life Story. So if you're online, please go to Love Your Life Story page on Facebook, click like, and then come and join me on the video, on the call, on the live call, through Love Your Life Story, so I can see your name and I can acknowledge you. And if you have any questions, I would love to have them, and so I can share them with the group and the community. But going back to you know, self-care is baby steps. You know, I know with my clients, you know, they're like, okay, I'm all gung ho and I want to lose some weight and I want to do a diet, and I'm like, okay, so how are you eating? You know, how are you? What is your routine right now? Let's talk about your routine a little bit more, because I don't want to, I cannot, you know, we can change your diet completely, but is it going to be something that's sustainable? But baby steps are sustainable. When you do things in that, you know, gung-ho style, and you got to know your personality type. If you're, hey, Hiran, thank you for joining. If you're, you know, have a, you know, personality type is like you're all in and you're on it and it's easy, do it. You know, that's not what I'm saying. But if you're that person who really he's been struggling to be consistent and persistent, right? That's the key to big goals. So whether it's, you know, big goal of having a, you know, your own business empire, or whether it's just because you want to overcome a health problem or you want to lose some weight, right? Whatever, but it's consistency and persistence. You cannot train for a bicycle ride by, you know, going last minute and going, okay, expecting that you're going to be all good. You've got to be prepared for it. You know, I went to the Himalayas and I hiked through the Himalayas. I had to prepare myself for it. And it took discipline, it took persistence and consistency. So, you know, one baby step, you know, my baby step, for example, to make that goal happen, was to first make the arrangement that I am committed to doing X, Y, and Z. And then I came back to what does my daily commitment look like? You know, how am I gonna work towards having that consistency? Enjoy your workshop, Randy. Thank you for joining, and I look forward to seeing you next week. So yeah, so that's that. You know, number 3. is explore and discover. So for example, ultimately, self-care is when you're not depriving yourself to what is important to you. So explore or discover when, where, and why, and how you feel deprived. So if you're, for example, in your relationship, you're feeling like you're giving like 150%, and that person is not giving you that 150% back. Where are you putting all your energy? What are you not doing for yourself? Where and what and why are you depriving yourself of what you need to do for yourself and then expecting somebody else to change? Or do something for you. Hey, Dutan! Long time no see! Thank you for joining. Dutan, we're just having a conversation about self-care. So I appreciate you sharing. If you have any questions on what self-care might look like, or even shares, please do. Dutan, you're an amazing guy and have lots to share and lots to give and lots of knowledge to share. So please do. We all do. We all have different sensations of knowledge and wisdom that we can share and make a difference. And I think sometimes we undermine ourselves in the knowing that we share from a higher cause. Number 4, find your own rhythm and routine. So, okay, rhythm or routine is not boring. You can make it boring. And if you're bored with something, let's reevaluate that. Why are you bored in your routine? You need to change something up, do something differently. But, routine, consistency, discipline actually gives you stability, security, safety, and serenity. We don't think that way, huh? I know I have friends of mine who we've had this debate often, because I have a schedule. I work to a schedule to be able to do what I do consistently and persistently and successfully. When I'm off my routine and I'm just doing things just off chance, temporarily it feels great, but in the long run, that is not creating any kind of security or foundation for myself in creating what I'm committed to creating. So it's okay, have that rhythm and have that routine. If you're not on a routine, what can you do to just one thing? What can you do to add to your life, to add value to your life so that you can actually do what you committed to? Again, let's just talk about the body, right? If you are sort of struggling from aches and pains, it is possible for you to work through that. But you can't just sit there and think and expect that ache and pain is going to go away. Get some work done. Maybe in the beginning it might not be your part. You need to get some professional help to help you recover in that process, right? But then afterwards, you can start managing and taking care of yourself, Create, this one's a good one. Create an absolute no list. So that means, what are you not willing to put up with? So ultimately, the question to ask yourself would be, is this, whatever it is that you're doing, does this serve me right now? And if it's serving me, question yourself, right? In which ways is it serving me? And is it enriching my life, and is it filling my cup? Or is it taking stuff, is it taking you, is it draining you? So when you make the absolute no list, one of the things is to not, for me, I'm just giving you some examples. There's lots of other things, that you can touch on. Yourself better. It's not about me. It's not about anybody else. It's about, it's about you, right? As an individual, I have to take care of myself, and it's only about me as an individual. And, nobody else can tell me, when to say no or when to say yes. However, I am lucky and I'm really blessed that I have an amazing group and amazing communities, amazing coaches, that there's times when I do struggle and I go to my default mode. And when I go to my default mode, I struggle to say no. I say I'm a people pleaser. That's how I grew up, being a people pleaser. So recognizing that and recognizing, okay, it's okay to say no, right? It's okay to, if they're disappointed, if they're real friends, they won't be disappointed, they'll be understanding. But if, or family even, you know, if family really care about you, they're not going to be disappointed with you. They're going to be understanding and say, okay, when are you available? Okay, let's put it in the calendar. Yeah, I appreciate how you work, you know. But if people are constantly demanding your time and your space, then be able to say no. So for me, I hate, like, one of my pet peeves is turning up late. And people who know me, they're pretty really, you know. But you know, like, one of the things I always end up doing is, one of my defaults is, I will try and compress everything in to the last minute and then go, I need to rush. So one of my no list is not to rush anymore. Like, really schedule myself to the point where I am not rushing. I give myself time. Self-care is that moment when you go and you breathe, and then all of a sudden nothing's as stressful as you thought it was, right? That's self-care. You know, that's like when me coming on video like this right now, and I'm going, oh my God, I don't know how I'm gonna deal with this on my own. And then Randy shows up and he's my cheerleader, and it's awesome. You know, and I have to go, breathe, and just show up. It's uncomfortable, but it's definitely something that I can show up and do, you know, and I'm here. So I appreciate your support for those of you who are here. People who are in financial situations, self-care is not using your credit card. You know, if you're in financial situation and you're stressed about it, and you keep on pounding down that, you know, that credit card to have the mini materialistic fixes, and you're not willing to really go into depth with things, you're not setting yourself up, and here you got another stressor. And the financial stresses, you know, hey, I've been there, done that, you know, like, but that's like one of the most, like, that's a soul killer. I swear down, that's a soul killer. That's a killer that you end up not only on a soul level, a mental level, physical level, but also for your community, that really kills you. Hi, Roshana. Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate you. Thank you for your message. And keep us posted. And don't forget to like our page. I love your life story. Another example is, I just started, I don't know about you guys, but I just started doing no technology Sunday. God, it's been hard. Especially with today. I mean, that's my point of contact. So every Sunday, you know, I tell my loved ones that I am going to unplug. The thing that I do is I listen to music. I love my music. I have a love of serene music, particularly when I'm decompressing. But sometimes I need to put something a little bit more jazzy on where I can dance to, and, you know, dance by myself and enjoy. Thank you. Exactly. You mean you're treating yourself on a cellular level, Shana. You know, and that is self-care, and it is okay to do that, you know. And I think that I remember self-care for me when I came to this country. I had an issue with my teeth, right? I had buck teeth. And I remember I got married, and my ex-husband was lovely. And he was like, oh, I love everything about you, and you don't need to worry about your buck teeth. Hey, Allison. And I'd say to him, but I really want to get my teeth straightened. It's something that's really personal to me, and I feel really you know, restrictive when I smile because of my buck teeth. It's not about acceptance. I accept my buck teeth, I did. But I wanted to have that smile where I feel good. You know, I can smile and I feel good about my smile. So, you know, he was like, no, you don't need to do it. You don't need to do it. And I did it because I wanted to do it for me. It wasn't about anything else. It wasn't about, hey, Brian, hey, Allison. It wasn't about anything else. It wasn't about serving him, or, you know, just because he likes it and I'm going, okay, you know. It was a personal thing, and I did that, you know. So look at where you're feeding yourself, you know, how that looked. For those of you who joined, we're talking about self-care. So I really appreciate you joining. If you have any questions, or you have any just feedback, or what are you doing for yourself? What are you doing for yourself that feeds your soul, feeds your body, feeds your mind, and it is not materialistic? It's not stuff that you can just buy for a quick fix. What is self-care to you? What does self-care look like? You can't buy self-confidence. You can't buy self-worth. That is something that we do on a deep down level. So I was just talking about my no technology Sunday. Last week, this Sunday gone, I went camping, so I was using my technology on Sunday. But it's been a real interesting experience, because doing that has enabled me to see, one is how dependent I'm on it, right? Two is, can I stop doing the things that I think I need to do, what I don't need to do, and look at where I'm struggling. And then three, also do the things that I really committed myself to do, that I have neglected for many years. So now recently I started drawing. I've gone back into my artwork, and it's something that really fulfills me. It's something that, and I had to give time and patience to it. But before I did not allocate time and patience. I was like, oh, I just don't have time because I'm too busy. I'm too busy because I'm not even giving myself any time to do the things that I really want to do. You want to go and learn an instrument, and you go, well, one of these days I will. There's no time like the present. All you need is an hour, right? Or half an hour. Schedule it. And you can do it. And even if you have family and you have commitments, but you can still do it. Where there's a will, there's a way. And who's your priority? It should be you, not other people, So when we started, but self-care is having the conversation you don't want to have. Sometimes, I don't know about yourself, but, for me, I remember just going through the life experiences I've been through and the people pleaser that I was. I wouldn't be true to really say what I want to say, because one, I didn't want to offend them or make them mad. But two, I didn't have the courage to say the truth. How sad is that, right? That's pretty sad. And, and then also in saying the truth, I guess it's also that, because you're already having that self-conversation of or judgment of how somebody else might take it. So then you don't really have that conversation, because then you're worried about that rejection or whatever that might be for you. My thing was rejection. So I wouldn't say it, and I'm really learning, and I'm still constantly learning. How can I have that conversation without feeling that, or even if I'm judging, just to have it and go through it, and then, look at the outcome, whatever the outcome might be. The other things that I want to share is questions to ask yourself before I go on to a couple of categories, because to break it down, I really want to kind of go through some tools that you can use in what self-care is, because there is a misconception of what is self-care. Like I said, it's not materialistic stuff. It's really about what are you doing for yourself on a deeper level that you can really find some serenity, some peace. So, questions, like I was saying, ultimately, self-care is where we've deprived ourselves. So the question is, that I'm going to ask you is, where do I feel deprived? Ask yourself, where do you feel deprived? Where are you depriving yourself? Is it in your relationship? Is it in your health? Is it in your finances? Is it in your business relationship? Is it in your, I don't know, your home? Is it the fact that you're not taking care of the things in your home? Is it your car? Is it your eating habits? What are those things that you're depriving yourself of? You've said to yourself, okay, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, but you're not doing it. Then where do I feel deprived? The other question is, what do I need more of right now? Right? Maybe you need your more time for yourself. Maybe is the other question would be, what do I need less of right now? Maybe you've been giving yourself too much time, and you actually need to connect yourself with people. Maybe you're feeling down and you've disconnected from people and really feel like, okay, there's nobody around, nobody understands you. And it's so hard to connect with somebody. But you're alienating yourself to the point where you're not being with anybody. That isn't self-love. That is the point where you're feeling that you're not worthy of being around anybody. or people are not worthy of being around you, but that's not true either. There's a perception there, right? There's a misunderstanding there on a deeper level of how you are feeling. So maybe it's that thing of, what do I need less of right now? I need less time with myself. I need to actually give myself that time and go out and go in, or go be around those people who I love and who love me, and there's nothing else in between. Or just connecting with a stranger even. Sometimes, strangers are pretty amazing. And I always kind of say that life is about, every encounter that I have, it's an enriching encounter, because I'm always getting something. Always getting something. Nothing is being taken away from me. What do I want or need right now? There's a difference there, right? There's like, what do I need right now? I'm really hungry. Like, for example, a way to my heart is through my stomach. Feed me and I'm good, But, does that mean that I need to be eating all the time? My eyes are bigger than my belly, right? I'm constantly thinking I can be eating. I still think about food. So, but there's a difference, I don't need it. I want it. I might see something on television, if I watch television, that I won't like, oh, I want that, but there's a difference, versus the need. What is it that I need to fulfill myself with right now? And really go into a core deeper. Like I said, not, okay, I need a pair of pants, or I need some shoes, what do I need right now? What do I, like, for example, you don't have a driver's license and you need to get somewhere, or you have a goal and you need to do something. But to get there, one is to set the goal, and then there's a need to do the baby steps to get to that goal, to get to that destination. Like me, for example, has been, for example, I'm going through my citizenship, right? And I've got a long list of forms to fill out to get my citizenship. And I get really bored and I get really agitated by it, because that's not my thing, that's not my forte. But when I break it down in little tasks, I can do the things that I need to do to get the end result. So, but do I feel necessarily that I want to do it? What am I yearning for? Yearning is like a really good, because like, sometimes I am totally, like I said, I have a food stuff going on, but I sometimes find myself, like, when I'm feeling hungry, and if you really look at the psychology of it, we have, the first thing that we do when we're, come out of our mothers, we want to tease on our mother's nipple, right? Our need for that connection and to be nurtured and to be fed, right, on a soul level and on a physical level, is our natural instinct. So, a lot of, there can be a lot of deeper cases, but, people who smoke, people who, are eaters, on an unhealthy level, is because they're yearning the love, they're yearning the nurturing, and they were not given the nurturing. So, okay, it's okay. You weren't given the nurturing, but if you wasn't given it, then how can you reprogram that? One is to acknowledge, okay, what was you not given? Now you recognizing, okay, this is what I wasn't given, and you can learn to forgive and go through the process, right? That's self-love, that's self-care right there. And then to do the next step is to, okay, what does nurturing look like for me? Nurturing does not look like I'm gonna go and get a bag of chips and just eat myself, and stuff myself. That's not self-care and nurturing. Nurturing is, okay, what type of feeling do I want? What do I want to experience in nurturing myself or yearning for something? What does that look like? Maybe it's just drinking more water. I don't know. We can make it as simple or as complicated as we want, but if you're making it very complicated, look at why are you making it complicated? It's not that complicated. Who or what is causing me to feel resentful, and why? That's a huge one. And you know what? We have resentment towards ourselves too. And if you're feeling resentful towards yourself, just take a look at that. Again, it's not right or wrong. It's just recognition. It's just awakening, if you want to say it in a spiritual sense, or it's just acknowledgement, awareness, however you want to say it. It's your language, it's your way of doing things, and it's your way of doing life. And if you're doing life in a way of because if you feel resentful towards yourself and you're not aware of it, what are you going to do? You're going to start having those habits or giving those things self-defeating actions towards causing pain for yourself because you're not enough, you're not worthy of it, you're not fulfilling yourself enough, you know? What am I starving for? You know, again, it's that yearning and nature that I'm just talking about, you know, because we starve ourselves, we deprive ourselves of the things that really, it's a need. And the need is that self-care and that self-love. So I'm going to go through a couple of lists that I made. You know, I work through lists. I mean, as much as I talk through off the top of my head, but I like my little mini list. So I just put it in like different sections. So I put in 3 sections because it's mind, body, and soul. Just so that you can get, you know, how to make that balance. Because sometimes we need to do something that, right now I am training for Randy Boyd's Courageous Healers Ride Across America bike ride that they're going to be having in September, which is going to be from Seattle to San Diego. I'm doing the last quarter of the ride, so it's going to be a 270 or 50 mile ride, I believe, over a couple of days, and I haven't rode like that in years, so I need to start training for it, right? But in that sense, I need to take care of myself, mind, body, and soul, and I need to, even when I don't want to train, I still need to train. I still need to take care of the things that I need to take care of. I can take it easy on myself. You know, if I'm exhausted, then let's do a different type of exercise. Don't do that full, you know, trying to do the cardiovascular and trying to kill it. You know, do something that will help me to build my core. You know, do the strength, inner strength training. You know, do a training that will help me to be more flexible, so I don't get constricted when I'm training. Eat better, right? Drink more water. Just simple things like that. So yeah, so I'm gonna go from mind, body, and soul. So mind is tiny little self-care tricks. So do any of you have a to-do list that you have? Is there anything on that to-do list that you don't do or you haven't touched in like weeks? If so, take it up, right? Put it back on there when you're ready to do it. But there's nothing worse than having that to-do list. I mean, there's research been found that to-do lists are not the best way of doing it, because people can, they might feel like they might even do 5 things of that to-do list, but you're not doing it in priority order. So you're doing the 5 things, but then you look at other stuff that you still need to do and you don't feel good about it. So part of it is prioritizing what you really need to do on your to-do list and then taking off the other things, and then you can re-list it. Change up the way you make a decision. I remember years ago I had one of my girlfriends, and she was just like getting the same results, She said, one thing, just do one thing differently. Oh my God, the next day she called me up and she goes, guess what? I did this and I got it. She got a job. And I was like, oh my God, it works. I'm telling you, because you did it differently. You just put a different message out there. It really, really works. Create a deliberate habit. You know, I think habits are something, if don't focus on what you want to break, but if you want to do something new, focus on that. So make it deliberate. You know, if you're, for example, you're going to stop smoking, you know, and you've gone through the avenues, whether it's some, you know, natural way of doing it, hypnotherapy, you know, or the energy work, or going in and doing the deep work, and you want to release it and you no longer want to carry it. It's possible. There's a lot out there. And even there, you go into something different. You start using a vape pen or whatever you're using. But then, okay, is that something that you want to consistently still continue? Ask yourself that. Does it really sate you know, and fill you? And if not, make a deliberate habit of doing something differently. You know, create it in small changes in your daily life. Do a mini declutter. So this is all from mind. You know, I know friends of mine who I have my little chaos that I live in, and usually it's paperwork. But even there, I have to maintain my paperwork. So my mini declutter is to continuously go through my paperwork and just make sure I get rid of stuff, because I make notes everywhere. I write it down, I put it somewhere, and then it's like, oh my God. And then I can sit at it and it drives me crazy. So for me, is to regularly declutter. But that could be something in your cycle. It could be your wardrobe. It could be your fridge. It could be your garage. It could be, you know, your pantry. Could be anything. But declutter, allow yourself that time just to go, okay, I'm gonna blitz this because it'll make you feel so much better. Unplug for an hour, like I was saying to you. You don't have to do a full day like me when I do No Technology Sunday, but unplug from the technology. Don't have expectations of people connecting. That's one thing that I'm noticing. Like I'm like, oh my god, like nobody's contacting me. I'm like, well, duh. I told everybody that nobody, I'm doing a No Technology Sunday. They're respecting my wishes. It's really interesting to observe as a mind, right? As a mind, where's my mind going by saying what I'm saying? And get out of your comfort zone. So for your mind, it's get out of your comfort zone. How many times do you give yourself a mind frick, right? You want to do something and you keep on going, oh, no, I'm gonna put it off, I'm gonna put it off, I'm gonna put it off. If you just go and do it, you just done it. You created something new and you got out of your comfort zone, and all of a sudden you're going, oh, I was able to do that. That was easy. I remember a friend of mine, British guy who moved out here to the United States, lived here for years. And for example, we went to England and we went to do a little bit of touring, and he was like, oh, I haven't driven for years. And it was really uncomfortable for him. So I was driving, I'm going back and forth, and I haven't been fazed by the driving thing. But he was really fazed by it. But then he basically said, if you can do it, I can do it. Right? And I always say, if I can do it, you can do it. So when I'm giving you any of these pointers, I'm giving you pointers because of the things that I've gone through and have helped me. And there's so much more that you can help you too. You just got to do it one step at a time. Give yourself that moment, give yourself that time to do so. Wrapping it up, I will go quite quickly, huh? But so that's for your mind, for your body. Give your body 10-minute mindful meditation or mindful rest, or just kind of just switch off. Give it for your body. Cool down and boogie. I mean, like sometimes I get really agitated and I need to get rid of the energy. Put some music on, blast it, dance like crazy, like nobody's watching, and you're good. And then you feel all energized and all, whether it's you want to feel sexy, whether you want to feel, solid on a good foundation, you want to feel flexible, whatever that feeling might be, because it's all in the feeling. Life happens in the feeling. We feel something and then that makes us do what we do. Do you get that? It doesn't happen because, I'm doing something, I see something. It's because I'm feeling a certain way. If I'm not feeling worthy of something, then I am going to act upon that in a behavior. So it's to be able to see that. So self-care is not having self-worth issues, right? Self-care is recognizing that I have self-worth issues so that I can step forward and do what I need to do. Activate a soothing system, whether it's something that you with your partner. If you're really sensitive to stuff, get your partner to use a skin brush, and brush your skin. That will decompress you. Those individuals, who have disabilities, whether it's autism, is something that's actually been researched and found that it actually helps someone to really come home and ground them. Make one small change to your diet a week. If you've got health issues and you just want to make something different, I'm not saying go and change your diet. Just have a look at your diet. What are you doing? Okay, what can I take out? What's not serving me anymore, and what can I create new? Give your body a treat. This is where you kind of go, okay, every once in a while, this is that materialistic, and it could be a materialistic side. So you could pick up some new clothes or new makeup or new cream or some earring. I don't know what that is for you. You know what that is for you. But if that's good for you, then do that for yourself. For the soul, little things so soul stuff is like, it's always something of, I would say, connection, right? We don't feel good on our own. We feel good because we are connected to our loved ones, with our family, with our friends. If we have family stuff that is no longer serving us and we need to let go of our family, it's also self-care. And create a new family. It's okay to do that. It's a hard process, but it's okay to do that and give yourself the permission to do that. Sometimes we have to do that. If we have destructive and dysfunctional relationships, dysfunction is not love. And it's remembering that. So ideas of self-care for the soul is help someone. Do it because you can, not because you have to, but do it because you can and you want to, and if you don't want to, then go and feed yourself in some other way. But find that peace. But there's something really heartfelt when you can do something for somebody without any expectations. write out your own thoughts. That's one of the things that I've had, you know, this work that I've been working on, and the self-care and the self-discovery, and that route of self-discovery is writing, journaling. And that's actually a really hard thing to do, especially if you're not used to it. For some people it's easy, for some people it's not. But if you're not used to it, just start by writing, you know, paragraph, whether it's something that you're grateful for in a day, and then once you start getting that habit, then go on to something that you're grateful for in an ungrateful situation. It's an amazing, amazing tool, because all of a sudden you start seeing the good things in something that you normally just would only see bad. And when you give yourself that time, it's pretty awesome what you can do. It got dark outside, and all of a sudden it got dark inside. You see the light change. But anyway, so write down your thoughts. If you give yourself that moment to write it, you'll actually get a lot more ahas in life than you actually realize. Make small connections, you know, you go to a store, connect with the salesperson. You go, you know, outside and you stood somewhere, you know, genuinely ask, not passively, you know, kind of ask ask a question that's different. You'll be surprised what comes out of people and how willing they are to be connected. Have a self day. You know, one of the things that people always say to me, why do you do things on your own? I'll be like, one, in the beginning I had to, when I came to this country, and I like, being British is one of those things, you don't do stuff on your own. And when I came to this country, you know, it was one of the things I had to. I mean, I had to get in contact with connection and with the community, and get myself out there and get to know people. I had to do things on my own. I would go out and I would go to a museum, I would go to the movies, I would go to a restaurant on my own. And that took a lot of courage to do that. But I have made the best friends through that connection that have been with me for years. So you can do that for yourself. Plan a weekend getaway. If it's something that you don't do, and it's not a routine of yours, then plan it in advance and then build towards it. One last one is ask for help. That's a huge one. I think, self-care and asking for help, because like self-care is something like, oh, I can do it on my own, but it's not about doing it on your own. The soul is fed by connections. So be able to feed and nourish your soul. I really appreciate all of you guys who have joined us. I hope that this conversation was good for you and you got a lot from it. I really appreciate you. Remember to share the love. Remember, if you are watching this and you got the whole brunk of it, and you're watching on either Randy's page or my page, go on to Love Your Life Story and click like, and then that way you will get our weekly feeds. Next week, Randy will be back and we will be talking about, I don't know, we'll find out. It'll be one of those things that we'll let you know in advance before our live feed. In the meantime, do one thing that is full of self-care and self-love, and take care of yourselves. Have an amazing rest of the week. Remember, if nobody has told you that they love you, then remember, I love you, Topeka loves you, and so do Love Your Life Story. And we want you to be able to love your life story, past, present, and future, because that's what life is about. It's about building and creating. We know of our past, we always create in our future. Namaste, love you, and we will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining. Take care. Bye-bye.